Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Gentlemen, I want you to picture this with me. It's early morning. The kind of morning where the air still holds that cool, clean edge from the night before. You step outside, take a deep breath, and for a fleeting moment, you remember exactly what it felt like to be 20 years younger. Your stride was quicker, your mind sharper, your body eager to respond. But somewhere along the way that feeling began to fade, not all at once, more like a dimmer switch slowly turning down over the years. You tell yourself it's just age, everyone slows down, right? That's the story we've all been sold. Here's the truth. For most men, the real reason isn't age at all. It's blocked circulation, the slow narrowing and stiffening of the blood vessels that feed your muscles, brain, and heart. It's hormonal imbalance, testosterone quietly slipping away while estrogen creeps up. And it's the gradual depletion of the very nutrients your body needs to produce energy, repair tissue, and keep desire alive. I've seen this pattern in thousands of patients, veterans, teachers, craftsmen, executives. Men who thought their best years were over, only to discover that their bodies weren't finished. They were just waiting for the right keys to turn everything back on. And here's the part I want you to hear. Those keys aren't hidden in a lab or locked behind a pharmacy counter. They're sitting in your kitchen right now. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it and tap that like button. Not for me, but for you and for the thousands of men out there who need to hear this message. Every time you hit like, it fuels this channel and gives my team the drive to bring you more conversations that can truly change lives. So let's begin with something that works faster than most men think possible. A combination so simple you might have walked past it in the grocery store 100 times, never realizing it could change everything. Formula number 1: white vinegar plus fresh ginger, the wake-up call. The first of those keys came to me through a man named Sam Richards. 69 years old, retired Marine. You could still see the soldier in him, the squared shoulders, the steady eyes, but you could also see the weight he carried. Not the kind you measure on a scale, but the kind that hangs in a man's voice when he's quietly fighting something he doesn't want to admit. "Doc," he told me, "I'm not ready to hang it up, but my body, it's acting like it is." Sam had already been told the same story so many men hear at this stage. It's just age, learn to live with it. But I could see in his face that surrender wasn't in his vocabulary. He didn't need a lecture, he needed a wake-up call. That wake-up call came in the form of two humble ingredients: plain white vinegar and fresh ginger root. White vinegar doesn't get the spotlight. No glossy labels, no trendy health claims. But inside that clear liquid is concentrated acetic acid, nature's cleaning crew for your arteries. Over the years, tiny calcium deposits and hardened plaque can turn flexible blood vessels into rigid tubes, restricting blood flow and starving your muscles, your brain, and other parts of you that depend on healthy circulation. Acetic acid works like a skilled mechanic, gently dissolving those deposits and helping vessels regain their natural flexibility. Fresh ginger takes it even further. Not the dry, powdered stuff that's been sitting in the back of your spice cabinet for years, but firm, knobby ginger root, the kind that releases a warm, citrusy aroma the moment you grate it. Inside are compounds called gingerols and shawgales. These do two things your body needs desperately at this stage. They relax the smooth muscle tissue in your blood vessel walls, and they trigger the production of nitric oxide, the molecule that tells those vessels to open up and let blood flow freely. And the science. A 2014 study in the Journal of Cardiovascular Pharmacology showed that ginger extract significantly increased nitric oxide levels in endothelial cells, the very lining that controls how well your arteries function. Here's how I told Sam to use it. 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger, half a cup of warm water. Warm, not hot heat can destroy some of ginger's most potent oils. Drink it about 20 minutes before you want to feel at your best. 3 days later, Sam sent me a short email. "Doc, I woke up like I was 20 again." A week later, he came into my office walking taller with that subtle shift in a man's eyes that says he's back in control. His wife told me later she'd started noticing more than just his improved energy, there was life in his laughter again. That's the beauty of this formula. It doesn't just switch on the physical. When blood flows freely, when oxygen and nutrients reach every part of you, your mind follows. Confidence follows. You stop feeling like you're pushing uphill all day. And once you've woken up the system, you're ready for the next step, a gentler but equally powerful ally that builds on that momentum and starts protecting the very hormones that make you feel like yourself. Formula number 2: apple cider vinegar plus raw honey, the gentle giant. After Sam's turnaround, I wanted to show him, and every man who's been stuck in that uphill climb, that not every solution has to come with a sharp kick. Sometimes the best results come from a formula that works quietly in the background, like a steady hand on your shoulder guiding you forward. That's exactly what I had in mind when Henry Whitman walked into my office. 73 years old, retired high school history teacher. He had that upright posture and thoughtful gaze of a man who'd spent a lifetime in front of a classroom, but his eyes told me something else. "Doc," he said, "I feel like I'm fading out of my own story." Henry didn't want a sudden jolt of energy. He wanted something that would bring him back into his life gradually, with strength that would last. That's when I introduced him to the pairing of organic apple cider vinegar and raw, unfiltered honey. Apple cider vinegar, the cloudy amber kind with the mother still in it, is rich in acetic acid, which helps dissolve plaque buildup and reduces inflammation in the arteries. Think of your circulatory system as a network of rivers and streams. With time, debris builds up along the banks, narrowing the flow. Apple cider vinegar works to clear those channels, restoring smooth currents so blood can move freely. But the real magic happens when you combine it with raw honey. Not the clear, processed syrup from a squeeze bottle, but honey thick with pollen, alive with enzymes, and carrying the scent of the blossoms it came from. Raw honey contains a flavonoid called chrysin, which acts as a natural aromatase inhibitor. Aromatase is the enzyme that slowly, quietly converts your testosterone into estrogen over the years. By blocking that conversion, chrysin helps keep more of your testosterone working for you, fueling your muscles, focus, and desire. There's research to back this up. A 2011 study in the Journal of Medicinal Food showed that natural honey not only boosts antioxidant levels, but also inhibits aromatase activity. That means better hormone balance and protection against the slow decline that so many men accept as inevitable. Here's the method I gave Henry. Mix 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar with 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered honey in 8 ounces of warm water. Drink it about 30 minutes before you want to be at your best. The warmth activates the honey's enzymes and speeds absorption, letting the combination get to work quickly. The first change Henry noticed wasn't in the bedroom, it was in the mornings. "Doc, I didn't just wake up," he told me. "I got up ready to go." His mind was sharper, his energy steadier. Even his wife remarked that he was telling more stories again at the dinner table, laughing in that deep, easy way she hadn't heard in years. That's why I call this one the gentle giant. It's not loud or flashy, but it quietly restores 2 of your most important assets: open blood flow and strong, steady testosterone. And once you have those foundations in place, you can start building the kind of endurance that carries you through the longest days without running out of steam halfway through. Formula number 3: rice vinegar plus watermelon extract, the endurance builder. Endurance isn't just about how far you can go, it's about how well you finish. And no one understood that better than Robert Hale, 66, a former tennis competitor who still hit the courts twice a week. He was lean, sharp-minded, and disciplined, but by the middle of the second set, his legs would betray him. "Doc," he said, "I can still play, but I'm running out of gas way too soon." I'd seen this before. The muscles were still strong, the willpower intact, but the system that delivered oxygen and nutrients had lost its edge. That's when I remembered a discovery from years earlier, sitting in a quiet lecture hall in Tokyo. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto, a researcher with the patience of a craftsman, had been studying rural Japanese communities where men in their 70s and 80s still worked long hours in the fields and walked miles of mountain roads daily. His conclusion was surprisingly simple. Many of these men drank a small mixture of rice vinegar and watermelon-based drinks every single day. Rice vinegar is unlike the sharper, more aggressive vinegars we're used to. It's gentle, almost mellow, with amino acids that help regulate the body's pH. When your internal environment is balanced, your cells absorb nutrients more efficiently, meaning every bite of food, every supplement, and every sip of water works harder for you. The second part of the equation is watermelon extract, and here's where the science gets interesting. Watermelon contains citrulline, an amino acid that your body converts into arginine. From there, arginine becomes nitric oxide, the very molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and expand. Wider vessels mean more blood, more oxygen, and more fuel delivered exactly where you need it. And unlike arginine supplements, which often get broken down before they reach your bloodstream, citrulline slips past the digestive bottleneck and converts into arginine exactly where your body needs it most. A 2007 study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine showed that citrulline supplementation improved exercise performance and reduced fatigue by enhancing nitric oxide production and circulation efficiency. Here's the formula I gave Robert: 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, 2 ounces of pure watermelon extract in a small glass of room temperature water. Drink it 45 minutes before any activity where you want stamina, whether that's a tennis match, a workout, or simply a full day ahead. 2 weeks later, Robert came back grinning. "Doc, I'm not just finishing matches, I'm looking for something else to do afterward." Yard work no longer left him drained. Long walks with his wife turned into longer conversations. Even at the end of the day, there was still fuel in the tank. That's the power of sustained blood flow. It doesn't just carry you through the peak moments. It carries you through the quiet ones too. And when you combine that kind of endurance with a system that's being actively repaired at its very core, you're setting yourself up for strength that doesn't fade. Formula number 4: balsamic vinegar plus pure pomegranate juice, the vessel repair crew. Some men don't slow down because they've lost strength. They slow down because their internal roads have worn out. That's exactly what I saw in Victor Marlowe, 70 years old, retired aerospace engineer. He was a man who had spent a lifetime designing systems where precision meant survival. His health habits were solid: daily walks, balanced meals, yet he came to me with a quiet frustration. "Doc," he said, "it's like my body's still running but on an old, cracked circuit." What Victor didn't realize was that the wiring he was talking about, his blood vessels, had been slowly changing. Over time, inflammation and oxidative stress roughen the delicate inner lining of the arteries called the endothelium. Once smooth as polished glass, it becomes coarse like sandpaper, slowing blood flow and forcing the heart to work harder. Balsamic vinegar is more than a gourmet drizzle for salad. Deep and syrupy, it's loaded with polyphenols, plant-based antioxidants that help restore the endothelium's smoothness, reducing turbulence in blood flow and lowering strain on the heart. Think of it as resurfacing an old, weathered road so traffic can move freely again. Then there's pure pomegranate juice, dark ruby red, pressed straight from the fruit with no added sugars. It's one of the richest natural sources of punicalagins, rare antioxidants that do something extraordinary. They not only reduce oxidative stress, they actively stimulate endothelial cells to regenerate. This isn't just maintenance, it's repair. The research is compelling. A 2005 study in clinical nutrition found that daily pomegranate juice improved blood flow to the heart by over 17% in just 3 months, while reducing arterial plaque thickness. Pair that with the polyphenols in balsamic vinegar, and you have a combination that works on both the surface and the structure of your blood vessels. Here's what I told Victor. Mix 2 tablespoons of high-quality balsamic vinegar with 4 ounces of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice. Take it twice daily, once in the morning on an empty stomach for maximum absorption, and once about an hour before you want peak performance. 3 weeks later, Victor told me his morning walks felt lighter. A month in, he was climbing the hill near his home without stopping to catch his breath. "Doc," he said, "it's like someone rewired me." That's the beauty of this formula. It doesn't just open the gates, it reinforces them, making sure they'll stay open for years to come. And when your circulation is both free-flowing and fortified, you're ready to bring in the element that bridges physical readiness with the deeper, more human spark that makes every moment count. Formula number 5: red wine vinegar plus dark chocolate, the connection restorer. Laurent De Luca was 68, a retired Italian chef who had once ruled his kitchen like a conductor commands an orchestra. For decades, he'd measured his life in aromas and flavors, plating each dish with the quiet satisfaction of a man in his element. But when he sat across from me in my office, his hands were still, his voice subdued. "Doc," he said, "I can still make the perfect dinner, but I can't finish the evening the way I used to." This wasn't just about physical performance. It was about the connection, the spark between two people that lives in the unspoken, in the way your eyes meet across a table. For Laurent, that spark had dimmed, not from lack of love, but from the quiet erosion of the body's ability to respond. Red wine vinegar became our starting point. Unlike other vinegars, it's rich in resveratrol, a powerful antioxidant found in the skins of grapes. Resveratrol has been shown to reduce inflammation, improve endothelial flexibility, and promote healthy blood flow throughout the body. Think of it as restoring the elasticity to a leather strap that's grown stiff over time, letting it flex and respond again. Then came the indulgent half of the equation, real dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao. Dark chocolate is loaded with flavonoids that enhance nitric oxide production, opening blood vessels for better circulation. But beyond that, it contains phenylethylamine, sometimes called the love chemical, and anandamide, the bliss molecule. Together, they reduce stress, elevate mood, and align your mental state with your physical readiness. Science agrees. A 2015 review in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology confirmed that cacao flavonoids improve vascular health, while its neuroactive compounds boost mood and cognitive function. In other words, dark chocolate works on both the body and the mind, the hardware and the software of intimacy. I gave Laurent a simple ritual. Dissolve 1 teaspoon of red wine vinegar in 2 ounces of warm water, drink it, and then savor 3 or 4 squares of high-quality dark chocolate. The warmth aids absorption, and the chocolate's compounds begin working within minutes, not just on circulation, but on the very chemistry of desire. 2 weeks later, Laurent told me he and his wife were lingering longer at the dinner table, the way they used to in their 20s. "Doc," he said with a smile, "it's not just that my body's ready, my heart's back in it." That's the difference when you address both sides of the equation. The physical strength to respond and the emotional openness to be present are inseparable. And when you've experienced what each of these 5 formulas can do on their own, the next question is inevitable. What happens if you combine the best of them into one? 6. Ultimate Power Blend. All roads lead here. After watching men transform with each of these formulas, one thought kept pressing on my mind. If one combination can unlock this much change, what could happen if we merge the strongest elements from all 5 into a single unified blend? This is the question that led to what I call the Ultimate Power Blend. It begins with apple cider vinegar, the steady opener of blood vessels, and raw honey, guarding your testosterone from the slow leak into estrogen. Add fresh ginger, that fiery root that tells your arteries to relax and floods your system with nitric oxide. From there, we weave in pure pomegranate juice for its punicalagins, actively repairing the inner lining of your vessels. Rice vinegar joins the mix to create the perfect environment for nutrient absorption, while watermelon extract delivers citrulline, fueling sustained nitric oxide production for hours. And finally, dark chocolate, a quiet but potent finisher, enhancing circulation, lifting mood, and aligning body with mind so you're not just capable, you're fully present. The synergy is the secret. Vinegars accelerate absorption, antioxidants protect and repair, amino acids build and sustain performance. Neurochemicals restore confidence and connection. When these forces work together, they don't just add to each other, they multiply. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s take this blend and regain a level of vitality they thought belonged only to their past. Not a brief spike, but a steady current, energy in the morning, stamina through the afternoon, presence in the evening. Their posture changes, their voices strengthen, and that quiet pride in their eyes returns. The recipe is simple. The ingredients are affordable. The results, if you stay consistent, can be life-changing. This isn't about forcing your body into temporary action. It's about restoring the natural systems that age has slowed and letting them run at full strength again. And when those systems awaken, the only thing left to decide is how far you're willing to go now that your best days are no longer behind you, but right in front of you. 7. Closing your best days are still ahead. Gentlemen, age is not the end of the story, it's simply the chapter you're in right now, and you're still holding the pen. I've watched men who thought their prime was behind them stand taller, speak with more certainty, and walk back into their lives with a spark that changes everything. Not because of luck, not because of some miracle hidden in a bottle, but because they took small, deliberate steps and kept taking them. You've now heard 5 powerful formulas and the ultimate power blend. These aren't theories. They're keys, and they're sitting in your kitchen right now waiting for you to turn them. So here's my challenge. Start, try one, feel the difference, and when you do, share it. Tell your story because somewhere another man is waiting to hear that it's possible. If this conversation has lit even the smallest spark for you, tap that like button. It tells me you value this work, and it fuels my team to bring you more. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation that could change your life. I read every comment. Whether it's "I'm starting today" or "I've been there," your words matter. They remind us that this isn't just a podcast, it's a community. Gentlemen, your best days are not gone. They're out there waiting for you to meet them. So take that step, and I'll be right here walking it with you.